So, hey everyone, thank you all for joining me on today. Happy Monday. I hope everyone is having a peaceful day. If you're following me for the first time and you don't know who the heck I am, my name is Retta K. Collier Isabel, and I am the CEO of Super Mommy Diaries. Just to give you a little bit of background, I launched Super Mommy Diaries in January of this year in hopes to provide hope and to teach others how to work through grief after suffering a pregnancy or infant loss. So, in this video, I am going to talk to you about being undiagnosed. My story specifically is being undiagnosed with preeclampsia with the result of a stillbirth. So, just a little bit about my story. In September of 2011, I thought it was going to be the happiest time of my life. I had finally beat 6 years of infertility and found out that I was going to be having a little boy due in September. So before becoming pregnant, I was already type 2 diabetic. And it was uncontrolled, which is more my fault than anybody else's because I just didn't take good care of myself. But after finding out that I was pregnant, I worked very, very hard to get those numbers back down in order. My A1C, I think it started at about a 12, and I was able to bring it down to a 5 within 3 months of finding out that I was pregnant. And a normal A1C is 7 or below. So I worked very hard to make sure that I was doing the best thing that I could for my baby. I went through my whole pregnancy thinking that I was doing everything right, and I put all my trust into my doctors, and I trusted them that they was going to provide the best care for me, and I just didn't think babies can die. So just to give you a little bit history of what preeclampsia is. Preeclampsia is basically just high blood pressure that you only get during pregnancy. Lots of times it can be taken care of with medications if it's caught early enough, but most of the time the only cure or treatment is delivery. So when I was pregnant with Blessing and when I had him and I had the autopsy, they said they couldn't find anything wrong. He was perfectly healthy. It just happened because I was Black. Basically, they said stillbirth is highest in African American women. They couldn't give me the reason why. They just brushed it off as that. So it took for me to get pregnant with my rainbow, and for the doctors that took care of me with my rainbow to go through my chart and figure out that I, in fact, had preeclampsia, and it was untreated. Now, being that Blessing was my first pregnancy, I didn't know about preeclampsia. I didn't know about kid counts. My doctor didn't teach me those things, and I didn't know what the signs of preeclampsia or even high blood pressure was. Doing a little research, I found out that, again, it's pretty much just high blood pressure that you get during pregnancy. Some of the signs that you should notice and may notice is swelling in your extremities, hands, feet, face, rapid weight gain. I gained 100 pounds during my pregnancy, and they tried to put it off as me just not eating right and, the eating for two thing, which was not the case. I was swollen because I had diabetes. I had plenty of high numbers that should have put me in a hospital, but they wouldn't keep me. They always just brushed it off as it being normal pregnancy symptoms, and me not knowing any better just went with what they said. So that's basically what happened with me. I do recall there's a couple of incidents that I do want to tell you all about. Towards the end of my pregnancy, how many weeks was I? I think I may have been about 36 weeks or so. But some of my symptoms I had was extreme headaches. That was one of the symptoms of preeclampsia. So these headaches would get so bad to where it makes me vomit just to sit up. And this one day I had decided that enough was enough. So I made me an emergency appointment They had me to do a 24-hour urine, and I did the 24-hour urine. Then I came in the next day to turn my urine in and for them to check out everything. When I came in, there was a lady on each side of me, and then there was me. And I guess we was all coming in to turn in 24-hour urine. And my room was directly in front of the nurse's station. And the nurse just didn't close my door all the way. So I'm nosy, listening, and I hear the nurse talking to the doctor. Oh, I hear the doctor talking to the nurse. And she says, there is so much protein in her urine that I'm surprised that the baby has not died. Now, me, my antennas are really up. So I'm like, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? Being nosy, peeking through the door and trying to see what they're talking about. And thinking that these two ladies on the side of me is going to be one of them, because it can't be me. Stuff like this, it can't happen to me. I'm innocent. That don't happen to me. They're not talking about me. So I go through the appointment. My blood pressure is high at this appointment now. It was very high. I can't remember the exact number, but I know that it was a high number that should have sent me to the hospital. I'm having these headaches. I'm having all these other signs. My feet were so swollen that I could not even wear shoes. I had to put on socks to go to the doctor. I could not even wear shoes. That's how big my feet was and swollen. My hands were so swollen that they hurt. Like I said, it made me vomit just to even sit up. I'm laying down in this room, but I'm still being nosy or whatever. And that with a high number, and then for them to say that outside of my room, I should have really been sent to the emergency room to probably deliver. I'm not going to say probably. I should have been sent to the delivery room to deliver. But I wasn't. They was like, oh, it's just, they came in, did their regular checks, checked for heartbeat, everything was fine, according to them. And basically sent me home and just said, rest. Keep your feet up and, the normal stuff. Oh, it's just the water in your legs and whatever. Just put your feet up and rest. It's just normally pregnancy. You ain't got much longer, so just go home and rest. But those were signs that they should have delivered me then. Now, during Blessing's pregnancy, I was on Medicaid, public assistance, if you don't know what that is. And I feel like I was brushed off because when you have Medicaid only wants to do the bare minimum. They don't really want to do the high risk stuff unless your doctor says it's an emergency. And they have to go through, I was talking to another doctor, they were saying like, they don't like to do like unnecessary tests unless it's like a life and death situation thing, because they have to prove, even though they may write a prescription in your chart or whatever and say that it's an emergency, they still have to prove to Medicaid or some kind of crazy things. They have to go through all kind of hoops and things to prove that you really needed this test done before Medicaid would actually pay them. So I feel like that I did not get the proper care because I was on Medicaid, and they don't want to risk not being paid because they know that if Medicaid didn't pay it, I couldn't pay it, I wouldn't pay it. So I feel like they did not do the proper test. Me coming back and forth to the hospital, they couldn't turn me away from the hospital. So they would do the bare minimum just to avoid a lawsuit, and I was not treated fairly because I was on Medicaid assistance. Now, fast forward, I ended up delivering, and I had the hospital to do an autopsy, and then I had my own autopsy done outside. Both of the people said that they could not come up with a cause to why Blessing had passed. Everything seemed normal. He was really big. He was 10 pounds and 10 ounces. He was full-time, 39 weeks and 6 days. He was full-time. But he was 10 pounds and 10 ounces, and they could not find anything that was wrong to cause the death. It took me to get pregnant with my rainbow for my rainbow doctors to go through my chart and figure out why that happened so that they can know things to avoid if it comes up again in this new pregnancy. Now, that's a little bit about my story. I want to let y'all know, yes, doctors are paid. Yes, they go to school and spend all this time on learning these things, but everybody don't run by the textbook. It is a lesson that I learned with losing busing was, do not put all of your trust in the doctors. Put your trust in God and do your research. If you don't worry about them, if you are not feeling well with your pregnancy or any kind of issue that you have, it's up to you to advocate for yourself. Do your research. I'm not going to say go to Google because Google is not your friend and have you think you're dying, but do your research. Do research. Find out what's happening. And then you tell your doctor, because that's what I did when I was pregnant with my rainbow. I went in there. They didn't, let me back up. When I was pregnant with Bustin, they didn't teach me about kick counts. I would have known if he wasn't moving right out. There would have been signs for me to get to the hospital like now and let them know my baby not moving. And I learned this stuff with my rainbow. So I'm saying all that again to say research, research, research. And when you go in there, if you don't feel right, don't be scared to pick up that phone if you're pregnant and tell them, I'm not feeling well, I'm on my way. I'm just telling you. I'm not asking you, should I come in? I'm telling you. Go to the hospital every time that you're not feeling well. Don't worry about how you're going to pay for it because there's ways that you can get that bill paid for. And again, just research. You know? Don't put all your trust into the doctors. I wish I would have known that with Bussin, but again, that's I'm say that for another video. He was an angel before all this happened, but that's gonna be for another subject right there. So that's the message for today. I'll be back with more.